Okay, good day everyone. Now, music is cool, but music theory is dog water. Unfortunately, if you want to end up on that stage, you need to know at least a little. You clicked on this video, so here's a rundown of basic music theory done in an extremely terrible and confusing manner. Enough prattling on about stuff you already know. Here's the Howcast tutorial on string theory. Here, listen to this. Wowza, what a memorable little tune. But what were those sounds that just played? Notes. That's what they're called. There's actually 7 of them, all named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet. So the first one is A, the second one is B, yeah, all that stuff. Let me play them all. And they're simple too. Just use these bad boys to create a song that will get you winning all the Nobel Prizes. Here's what I made. And remember what I said about there being 7 notes? There's actually 7 of them, all named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet. I lied, there's actually 5 more, and just like me, they're known as accidentals. They're between every note except B and C and E and F because Pythagoras couldn't only ruin math. And here's the lemon juice in the wound. These notes can go by 2 names. For example, the accidental between D and E. This note can be known as D sharp since it's just over D, or E flat because it's just below E. There's no set rule for which name to use, so you have to live the rest of your days in agony from this knowledge. Let's move on to something easier. You know what a minute is, right? And can you do this? If you do this every second, you will be doing this for 60 beats a minute. This is called tempo, which is basically just how fast the song is. The faster a song, the more times you have to smack the table every minute. How does this work though? Well, smack the table for 60 beats per minute, but replace the smacks with a musical note. Yeah, this is how it works. You can take breaks, but they're called rests. And you can even play a note shorter than a beat. Listen to this. This concept is called rhythm. You can combine it with the notes to create a catchy tune that will get the whole junction jumping. But how do we write this music? Well, sheet music. I'm not teaching you that though. Go learn it yourself. Sorry, but look at all this gobbledygook. Not even the Berkeley professor could understand that. Oh god, we're back with the notes, though this one should be a cakewalk compared to accidentals. Intervals are just the spaces between notes. That's all. Here's all 12 notes in order, and I'll pick a random note to play, like D. The interval between D and E is known as a full step or major second. Here's a nifty little chart of all the intervals you need, so go screenshot that or something. For example, the interval between A and E is a perfect fifth. Isn't that amazing? But one more thing, here's A, and here's A. These notes might have the same name, but they clearly don't sound the same. That's because they're an octave apart, 12 half steps. See, it says it right here on this handy little guide. Scales are just a series of notes that you can play in a cool way. There's at least 84 gazillions, so I'll just focus on 2. The major and minor scale. I'll do the major one first. So if you want a delicious major scale, pick a note to start with, or tonic if I'll pick C, then we add a note a major second away, D, then add the one a major third away from the tonic, E, then a perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and an octave. Make sure your scale starts and ends on the same note, okay? Now look at our beautiful scale. This is the C major scale. Notice how it sounds happy, but what if we don't want to feel joy? Just lower the 3rd, 6th, and 7th notes by a half step and you'll have a minor scale. Well, a natural minor scale. There's 3, which is 4 more than anyone needs. Just play these in any way and you'll be goody gumdrops. You can also start the scale on different notes while keeping the same 8 notes to create modes. As a matter of fact, the minor scale is actually the 6th mode of the major scale, which losers call aluminium or something. For whatever reason, they named all the modes in Mandarin. I'm just showing you this early in case you hear this eventually, but you really don't need to know this stuff, okay? That's like Rhapsody in Blue knowledge. Wow, I think I cleared that well, which means I can segue into this next segment perfectly. Jumping, growing, dancing, everybody. Okay, every song in this universe has a key, right? The key is just a scale that the song uses to create these noises. We Will Rock You is in the key of C major, but there's a problem. Here's the C major scale and A minor scale. Look at this. They have the same notes, but they just start from different tonics. Yeah, every major scale has a relative minor scale and vice versa. So, the relative minor of C major is A minor. The scale. The relative major scale of A minor is C major. This means that if you do learn sheet music, you have to deal with key signatures. These can represent the relative major or minor, so you kind of have to guess, which can go like tortoise feet. Also, songs can change keys during the song. Impossible! But guess what's not impossible? Teach you all things that I teach you sure to beat ya! Obviously, if we only used one note at a time for our music, it would sound pretty one-dimensional. Well, chords bring music to the next step. They're just 2 or more notes played together. At the same time, we'll focus on the 3-note chords or triads, though if you've been extra good, we might tap into the 4-note ones later. Just like the scales, major and minor are our guys. Remember, major makes you jump up and minor makes you jump down. Depending on your mood, pick a random note and use its corresponding scale. Now, add the 3rd and 5th notes of the scale to the chord and Ruckus is your uncle. Listen to the C major chord. Wow, what about a C minor? Well, flat in the
3rd.
Listen. Isn't that sad? Now, if you want something more flat in the 5th of a minor chord and listen to this. Wow, that just makes you want to eat the computer. While 1 chord is cool, you know what's cooler? Get this, 2 chords or more, preferably in a progression.
Yo, this song's going out to Sanjeev. Listen, turn that bloody music down.
It deeply pains me to say this, but we have to learn how to harmonize a scale before we can get to the main event. Let's just get this done quick, Armando. For every note in the scale, you stack the notes 2 notes and 4 notes from it. Let's do the C major scale again since it's got no accidentals. C would be C, E, G, so C major. D would be D, F, A, D minor. E would be E, G, B, E minor. Yeah, we could keep going for all 8 notes, but the basic formula to harmonize a major scale is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then major again. The minor scale is harder to harmonize because there's 3, so you're just going to have to look them up on Wikipedia. Sorry, but don't blame me. Blame the evolution of Western music theory. Major for the moment. Now, we turn those notes into chords, so now we'll label them by numbers. C would be 1, D would be 2, and G would be 5. Why did I skip 3 and 4? You'll see right now. So let's order these chords so 2 plays first, then 5, then 1. Let's play. Holy macaroni. Oh wow, this just gives me the urge to do the Lindy Hop. Listen to 1, 5, 6, 4. Got me wondering if this is the real life, because that song was a fantasy. Chords sound cool on their own, but when you mix it with other chords, they affect each other and they sound different, if that makes sense. You just use these numbers with whatever keys you want and create masterpieces. You obviously don't have to use these 7 different types. You can mix and match. Heck, you can even switch between the relative minor and major like it's autumn leaves. You probably don't understand that reference though. That's at least 4 more ice ages of music theory to study. Okay, you've waited long enough. Here's the extra note of chords. Now, that extra note can actually change everything. You add a major 7 to a chord, and it's still major. You add a minor 7 to a minor chord, what do you think happens? But what if we add a minor 7 to a major chord? We get a dominant. Now for diminished chords, if you add a minor 7th, you get a half diminished. Where'd the other half go? Give it back. Thankfully, just flatten the 7th again and you receive the whole thing. For 7th chords, harmonizing a major scale is major, minor, minor, major, dominant, minor, half diminished, and finally major. And you've just learned jazz. No, you haven't, but you're sort of maybe there. I said I'd try and make you feel better, but I can see it didn't work. In fact, I can see you right now. Why else do you think the light on the camera is red? I know you want to do anything else or just list some concepts you need to know so quick you'll be like, wait, that was a video part? Timbre, that's the texture of the music, so how it sounds. That's what makes you say, oh wait, that's a guitar. And oh, that's a metal pipe. Dynamics, the volume of the music. Pitch, how high or how low a note is. Structure, how a musical piece is arranged and organized, but no doy it is. It's in the name. Duration, you know what that is. And last but absolutely the least, tone color. That's just what instruments are used. You probably learned nothing from this video and I am deeply regretful. Apology video coming soon. But I hope I showed you something good. Whoa, I hope I showed you music theory early. Face it, if you're this interested that you clicked on this video to learn, you're 200% going to be taught it eventually in school or something. So hey, at least you won't be completely lost since this piece of media made little niblets in your brain just waiting to be expanded by better teachers with functioning cerebral organs. The end.